when I found this album, I was like, wow. In fact, I listened to it while I was at the Planet Fitness, the gym, and I felt like anxiety with the whole world the way it is. And I was walking in with, daily stress and stuff, and it just kind of all went away. And I said, I'm loving this album. And then I went down the aisle and I walked to each person. I said, you got to play this album. You got to play this album. And most of those people never knew who I was before. They never met me before.
Let's do it.
From the new Mastersounds. Welcome to the Jazz, Blues, and R&B podcast and radio show, period.
Thanks for having me.
This is your 18th album. Yeah, like in my opinion, this veers from some of your stuff. It's similar, but it's different. And you must have thought, oh, we're on to something here that feels really good. How do you hold on to something, or how do you know when you're going to send this out that you got a good one?
We have limited time to get together as a band because I live in the US, two guys live in the UK, one guy lives in Spain, and we've been together 25 years, and we happen to be in the UK. The keyboard player just set up a little studio in his kind of garage, and we were like, well, we've got 2 days off, let's go make an album, let's do it quick. And, this is how we used to make albums back in the day. I mean, it's how we've always pretty much made albums. It's pretty quick in a couple of days. The reason it's called old school is because Joe's house is actually an old school house. So it's kind of like it was, two meanings for that. We wanted to go back to our roots, just make it super raw and simple, like we used to play when 25 years ago when we got together, just the 4-piece, no gets, no frills, and just make the music that we love making. And I think, something just honest and raw came out of that experience, and that just, we hadn't been able to see each other a lot over the last few years. We did get together in Iceland to make an album in 2021, which was the first time we'd seen each other for over a year and a half. And then there was another big gap, and we were finally doing some shows in the UK, and then boom, we had the days off. And so I think there's something to do with the immediacy and also the kind of friendships and relationship of so long, and just getting together in Joe's house and just bam, let's just make some music that we love.
Donaldson, it seems like it's leaning towards that direction.
Yeah, we actually toured with Lou Donaldson, I don't know, 15 years, maybe more, maybe even knocking on 20 years ago. Yeah, I mean, that was definitely big influences. All that Blue Note sounding stuff, all the Blue Note 60s, early 70s. And then, we were obviously influenced a bit by things like the Meters, but it really was this whole kind of funk scene that was going on in the UK as we were growing up, and like through the 90s. That's where the sound came from. We were playing clubs, every weekend in Leeds and around the north, so we just kind of this is the music that we loved, and this is what we make when we just get together. And I think it's in the club. Picked up my guitar, and it was kind of like just let's get a guitar sound. I started playing that riff, and we're like, okay, well, there's one song. That's what we do when we get together. That's the sounds that we make.
Meters is definitely something I listed too as an influence. I wrote Donaldson, Smith, and the Meters, and boy, working with Lou Donaldson. I mean, I uncovered those albums after he passed, and each one, Hot Dog, and all those other ones are just like brilliant. Like they're just so much fun.
It was an odd one because he wasn't really playing. So, I mean, he was probably knocking 80 when we played with him. And this is definitely a while back, because I've been in America 14 years, and it was before that. And he'd been booked to play some big kind of, it was a birthday party of the Brighton Jazz Bop, and then one down Jelly Jazz down in Plymouth. So they were kind of, it was maybe like 1,000, 1,500 people coming to this show. And like the first time he was doing it. But at this point in his career, he was just kind of wanting to play like jazz ballads and things like that. And he didn't even really care about the boogaloo stuff that he'd made in the 60s. So I was the musical director of it. And I was like, no, Lou, they want to hear Hot Dog. They want to hear,
Yeah, definitely.
Like Creeper. And he was just like, I don't remember that anymore, And so he was a bit cantankerous at the beginning, because he was like, why is this kid telling me what to do? Like, I just want to do what I do. And then we got down to the shows, and there's like 1,200 people, like, between the ages of 20 and 30 going crazy. And he was just like, nobody told me this was going on. It was like, his attitude just completely changed. And he was like, all right, guys, whatever you want to play, like, I'm in, so. Well, yeah, he was super fun. Yeah, lovely guy. He was the A&R man for Blue Note Records. He discovered Grant Green and took him to New York. So,
how about that?
One of my biggest heroes, of course,
The one thing I noticed about the mix, and that it's just a little different, is that the drum and bass is a little higher in the mix than like the Hammond B is not overpowering, or the guitar solos are not overpowering. It seems like the drum and bass holds your attention the whole way through. And then when you do solos, they're not way in your face the way, like, it doesn't flip. So it was kind of interesting, different mix for me. And I liked it. I think that was a better mix. You probably were like, just by looking at your face reading, you're like,
I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Dude, I don't know what you're talking about.
I've mixed so many records. I'm kind of like,
I like it. So it's good.
That's cool. I mean, I do tend to, I've always mixed fairly drum forward, because I love the drums. I mean, really, it's the rhythm that gets me, and everything else is the icing on the cake. So
a lot of times those things from the 60s, it starts out with the drum and the bass. It's hot, and then it sinks way down in the mix, and it's still there. But they're playing.
No, totally. Yeah, old recordings. They're definitely kind of a lot lower on that. And so, yeah, some jazz records you can't even hear the bass. You're kind of like, wait, is there a bass player on this?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, and because I was always mixing for like the kind of like DJ kind of funk scene in the UK, I had to mix with the drums forward and the bass forward, because that's what kept the dance floor going. That's what it was about.
You're in Denver, Colorado. You moved around a little. Why Denver?
That was a woman, my wife. Yeah. So I've been there 10 years. Denver has got an amazing music scene, and it's kind of a bit of a hidden secret. And I think people are understanding it now. But when I first moved there, people were like, Denver, why? I was like, that's for you to figure out. But like,
great food.
Yeah. It's really changed over the last 10 years. I mean, almost unrecognizable at this point. But the music scene is insane. I mean, every single night there's 5 to 10 bands playing in so many different venues, from little dive bars to Red Rock. It was the first state to legalize weed, and a lot of people moved, and a lot of people with alternative jobs moved, which then meant that people go out on a Tuesday night. And, obviously it's in a lot of states now, but I think that really changed the demographic of the city, and it brought a lot of music lovers into town, and a lot of musicians as well. So, half of Lettuce moved to Denver and people like that. There's all sorts, and and continues to happen. Probably one of the fastest growing cities for like 20 to 30-year-olds at this point. So, and beautiful weather. 300 days of sunshine. I'm not complaining.
No. As the guitarist, producer, manager of the band, do you feel overwhelmed that you got all these hats that you're spinning?
Well, the funny thing is now, so the opening band is the Lucky Strokes, which I'm also managing and playing in. So right now I'm on a 5-week tour, playing in both bands, managing both bands, doing all the driving, booking all the hotels, everything. So yeah, I'm just put it this way, I'm glad of a day off.
Your website for this band is fantastic. It is so organized and so easy to navigate. It's someone who has a type A personality, because, I was going through all the links and just like going to different places, and it's really refreshing. There's very few artists. Normally they put a couple pictures up, some tour dates that are old, and you have to figure out the rest of it. It's a great place if you have a fan base who wants to stay connected. Whoever's doing it, keep up the good work.
Yeah, well, so Simon, the drummer, who is very detail orientated, he actually handles most of the website stuff, which is great. We're a good team, me and him.
What's the deal with Scrappy Doo? Are you a pro Scrappy Doo or anti Scrappy Doo? Did you see the movie from 2002?
No, I only remember it from the original cartoons, back in the day. But it was just, no, I mean, it was just, our titles are so kind of nonsense and arbitrary, really, and it's that tune seemed a little frantic and a little scrappy, and we were like, oh, what's that scrappy one? We just started calling it Scrappy Doo, because it was a childhood reference. So that's kind of what that came from.
Yeah, like I'm pro Scrappy initially, and then he's the villain in this movie.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah. He's taking soul. Like people go into the island, and then he sucks their souls, and he becomes like this big monster. And I'm like,
Scrappy Doo. He was like, it was refreshing when he showed up on the scene in the 70s.
Yeah. I mean, I never knew he was going to turn out to be this arch, like this elaborate, and create an island, and then have all these like things, and then murder people. It's a lot.
I didn't even know that reference. It was.
We have this conversation at home all the time. I'm very anti Scrappy Doo right now. What was the idea for the title, and what was their thoughts when you did the song?
Well, actually, it is a Big John Patton reference. Let 'Em Roll was a classic Big John Patton album that we all listened to a lot kind of growing up. And I don't know, there's something about that track. It felt like there should be a little dance to it. And so, obviously we were in the middle of the English countryside where sausage rolls are, all over the place. Sausage rolls galore. So it was just a bit of a gag about that, but it kind of like, we pretend that it's a dance that we made up, and on stage now we say, all right, we're going to do the sausage roll. And,
I went online to see if there was a dance. Then I went into this. Okay, then I went into a whole thing about sausage rolls is the English snack. It's the number one snack.
It is.
Elton John did a song, "Merry Christmas Sausage Roll," with Ed Sheeran. I'm like, what is a sausage roll? It's a sausage.
Yeah, it's a sausage link surrounded by puff pastry.
Oh,
and it's delicious.
Yeah, I bought those Stax full box sets. They were every single available, and then I realized that like Rufus Thomas has at least 20 to 30 dance songs with like actual dances to it.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
yeah. I think you might want to do at least a TikTok version or maybe a TikTok channel.
Yeah, you're probably right. We should get a TikTok account and just so we can do the sausage roll. We had a few people in the audience kind of like spinning in a circle and claiming that is the sausage roll. So, I mean, the market dictates. The audience is going to tell you what they want.
Just love this album. I think it's a great release at the great time. You know, you're in spring and the summer, while you're driving your car, it's going to really put you in a great mood. This to me is a really hot album. I really hope it connects to the people that it deserves to. There's people out there that will get this right away. And then there's people who are like Medeski, Martin and Wood fans or whatever back in the past who would be like, yeah, this is definitely somewhere I want to go. So
yeah, what's really nice is that I am finding that it is really connecting with people, and it's I think it's something to be said for that kind of like the raw honesty of what we did there without overthinking it. We just went in and made some music that. And, definitely after 25 years, we've realized that our role is to spread joy. And if that's all we can do, then we're happy with that. But we have a vinyl club now. And so we're putting out an album every month on vinyl for Color Red. So any vinyl heads out there, go and sign up for the vinyl club. That. In fact, the next record that's coming out has the 3 original members of the Grey Boy All-Stars plus me on guitar. So that's a good one.
That is good. Yeah. Oh, my God. Good job. Okay. Eddie Roberts from the new Mastersounds. The album is called Old School. Thank you very much for joining me today on the Jazz, Blues, and R&B podcast and radio show, period.